of this database of knowledge. What I find really interesting is, like, let's say you've got a personnel problem at work. You've got a complicated situation with a complicated person. You want to know how to approach it. Honestly, just go and ask ChatGPT or Claude and say, listen, here's my set of problems here. I want to get this kind of outcome. How do I approach it?
At the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville, thousands of people queued for an hour to hear Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump discuss his plans for blockchain and cryptocurrency if he is reelected in November. Trump encouraged conference guests to enjoy their Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and other toys as he concluded his remarks. Trump has already spoken to groups about his views on blockchain technology, but his administration's 2025 plan for digital assets caught people's attention. Digital currency and non-fungible tokens issued by banks, one of the first public gatherings to do so since Trump's Republican nomination, was the Bitcoin conference. In order to dominate, mining cryptocurrency like Bitcoin will require twice as much electricity in the U.S. Trump proposed lowering pointless restrictions to boost nuclear and fossil fuel-based electricity generation in the U.S. At a time when many nations are looking for more environmentally friendly ways to combat climate change, he did not elaborate on how he would encourage this kind of electricity generation. I want cryptocurrency to be developed and produced in the United States if it is to shape the future.
I'm the same, and I honestly think every time I talk to people, I was out for dinner last night here in the Cayman Islands with friends who are very smart, and I was talking about AI, and even though they use, ChatGPT, they're still not understanding the power of where it is today, because people are almost afraid to ask it questions. It's like, partly it's like you kind of need to know how to do it a little bit. And even if you talk to it, I speak to it on my phone and it works really well. But for me, it's like Confucius has come down from the mountain and he speaks Mandarin and you speak English. You don't really know how to interact properly and you do it superficially. But people still tend to think of it as some sort of search of this database of knowledge. What I find really interesting is, like, let's say you've got a personnel problem at work. You've got a complicated situation with a complicated person. You want to know how to approach it. Honestly, just go and ask ChatGPT or Claude and say, listen, here's my set of problems here. I want to get this kind of outcome. How do I approach it? Its ability to think things through is extraordinary. I use it for these things a lot because, yes, the search element is great, but really it's this kind of advice of anything, whether it's even medical advice, psychological advice, sociological advice, cultural advice, anything, and it will help you think it through. And I even give it emails to say, listen, I'm angry, so I'm writing an incendiary email and I wanted to tone it down because I want it to land right, and it will rewrite the email for me and say, okay, this will probably work better. It's incredible. It's incredible. The other thing that I've been following, before we start going through the economic benefits and stuff, but the other thing that I've been following is several people's journey into AI consciousness. And so I started that thinking, well, this is ridiculous. But then you start going down what is consciousness, and kind of it's an undefinable thing. And, if you're saying, well, it's parroting humans, well, that's all humans learn from is parroting each other. And, psychology would say that we are based on the sum of our experiences. I'm starting to think through another lens from which I look at this is I look at it through an economic lens, which is economic growth, trend rate of growth is driven by three factors really, which is population growth, productivity growth, and debt growth. And we've got shrinking populations in most of the developed world now. Creating here is our whole economy was built on scarcity of manpower, physical power, i.e. the ability to do things, and the ability for knowledge. So doctors and lawyers, there's less of them, there's large demand, the cost of them is high. Now, what we're about to do is unleash essentially unlimited knowledge for almost zero cost. And with the robots, you get unlimited manpower. So you've basically creating unlimited humans.
After meeting with the leaders of many cryptocurrency mining companies in June, Trump reaffirmed a promise to his followers on social media that all of the remaining Bitcoin must be produced in the United States. Others have pointed out that this would probably be a challenging or impossible request, even though many business leaders agree with this assertion. According to John Ammons, a partner at Reed Smith, Gensler would have to be fired for reason if he continued to serve a year into a Trump presidency, because political party chiefs typically announce their resignations when the administration changes.
Is that nexus to the journey to the nexus of crypto, macro, and the exponential age in technology. You see, the exponential age is incredibly important a concept for you all to understand, because it's going to change every single part of your lives. Whether you're a pro-technology person or not, it matters not, because it is coming. Every day is more digital than the last. And this exponential age is the nexus of so many great technologies coming together as well, creating network effects on network effects, like AI, robotics, renewable energies, computational power, distributed compute, biogenetics, space, longevity. There's so many things that are all hitting an exponential curve at the same time. Even if you look at the cost of renewable energy, it's an exponential collapse of cost. Computing power, exponential collapse in cost, exponential increase, the exponential increase in the power of AI, the exponential rise of robots at places like Amazon, where they now exceed the number of humans. These things are going to change everything about our society, everything that we understand, even maybe to our system of money itself. Obviously, crypto is part of the exponential age, but it's even more profound than that. As we start heading into something I call the economic singularity, that's the point, maybe some point after 2030, where we just don't understand even the study of economics. If you remember, GDP growth is driven by population growth, productivity growth, and debt growth. Debt growth broke in 2008, and all debt growth is now is servicing of old debts, and it keeps going because you have to keep paying the interest on the interest on the interest. But if you think of population growth, in the Western world has been shrinking. That's why GDP has been falling and inflation has been falling over time. And productivity, because of an aging workforce, is falling as well. But somewhere the solution to this massive debt burden, the utter fuckedness of the world, actually comes from technology. You see, AI and robots create infinite humans. Infinite humans create, bizarrely, infinite GDP growth. Productivity is essentially the output per unit of energy. Now, the energy cost that we mainly use is electricity. So as we force down the cost of electricity, the productivity that comes from AI and robots against that means you get a multiplier. So beyond 2030, it starts to become difficult how to think of the world. How to think of a world that's full of abundance and not scarcity. You see, we understand scarcity of knowledge to be one of the most powerful things, whether it's Wall Street, whether it's lawyers, whether it's accountants, whether it's marketing people, whether it's copywriters, authors, artists, anybody. It's the knowledge that they have that they can charge for, and the experience as well. But that all goes out the window with AI, because we've got something that's far more powerful than humans. Now, you hear stupid shit bandied around like, well, AI's got an IQ of 100. It's got an IQ of 100 on any single or every single topic on Earth. So it's a polymath too. It's an extraordinarily powerful technology, and this is the worst it's ever going to be. By many people's yardstick, this is going to multiply 1,000 or 1,000,000 fold over the next decade. I don't think people can get their heads around what this means. Now, I'm a passionate believer. I coined the phrase the exponential age. I'm a passionate believer in it. I think for all of us, we need to get involved in it. We need to understand it and not fear it. Because you know what? You can be superhuman with AI too.
Among the well-known wirehouses are Wells Fargo, Morgan Chase, and Bank of America. The majority of the $60 billion allocated to spot crypto ETFs in 2024 will come from wirehouse hedge firms' crypto-native individual investors. The biggest is Morgan Stanley. Over $3.75 trillion is managed by its advisory network, which includes $1 trillion in client accounts that are self-directed across all of its banking businesses. $6.2 trillion is under Morgan Stanley's control. Thanks for watching.